Hi everyone, it's Anja here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks, and today I am here to show you how to make this adorable little cushion. But not only that, I am going to show you how you can turn a granny square into a granny rectangle. Keep watching. Okay, so what do you need for this project? First of all, I'm going to get started by making a little cushion. And for that cushion, I'm going to need my stuffing. And I have a cover for the cushion. So this is just a piece of material that I have cut out and folded double. And I'm going to use my needle and thread here in a moment to stitch close the 3 or 2.5 sides, and then in there I'm going to put the stuffing and close up the cushion. So I have a finished cushion, and then I'm going to make the cover for it. Now in the design I have used the heart at the front, so today in the video I am just going to use a plain granny cluster square. And I'm going to show you how to make it rectangular and then how to enlarge it. But if you wanted also to make that heart one, then of course I have already got a video where I am showing you that. So I'm going to refer you to that video here, because otherwise this video would be too long. So if you want to add the heart, you can go to that video, and I have just worked there until I had the small heart. So there's an option for making the heart bigger, but I opted for the smaller heart in that video, or in this video at least. So what else do you need? You'll need your colors for your design. I've chosen meadow and magenta. I am still using my 375, just like I did for the scrap blanket that I made that goes with this cushion. And I've got my scissors and my darning needle. Okay, let's get started on the middle of it. So let's do your slip knot. Insert your hook. I'm still using my 375. And I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you go back to your first chain and you do a slip stitch, chain 2, and you do another 2 double crochets into the circle. So make sure you find the middle of the circle that you made with those 4 chains there. Then you do 2 chains, and then you do 3 double crochets. And a double crochet is where you yarn over, you insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So I've done my 3, 1, 2, and essentially we are making a granny square. So another 2 chains for the corner, another 3 double crochets, another 2 chains, and another 3 double crochets. So like I said in the beginning of the video, if you wanted to have that heart here, then go to that video, because there you will be able to just do that then, and then come back to this video to finish off your cushion cover. Okay, so yeah, here we are going to slip stitch into that first V that you see there, and we close the first round. So you have 4 clusters of 3 double crochets, and essentially you have 4 corners as well. Then we slip stitch to one of the corner spaces here, and then you do 2 chains, 2 more double crochets, 2 chains, 3 double crochets, because that first chain from a moment ago counts as our double crochet. So that's the first corner done. And then basically you repeat this in each chain space around your center of your granny square here. So 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 double crochets in each corner space. I'm going to close the round now, skipping the 2 chains here, going under the V there and doing a slip stitch. Once again, another slip stitch and another slip stitch to bring us to the corner of the square. 2 chains, and we do 2 more double crochets because that chain counts as our first double crochet. 2 chains and 3 double crochets into that same chain space. Okay, there we go, that's our corner done. Now we are also doing sides, so let's do a cluster of 3 double crochets on the side in between the two clusters from the row below, and once again we're doing a corner. Three double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 double crochets. A side, 3 double crochets. And we continue like this. Closing my round again here, skipping the 2 chains, going under the next V and slip stitching. So if you have done the heart, you will now have come back here because the heart goes over 1, 2, 3 rows. So after you have finished the heart, you are going to do another 2 rows of just the one color. So let's do our slip stitches to get into the corner. Chain 2, you do your corner as you are used to. And now, of course, you have more clusters to do on the side as well. So we did 1 cluster earlier. Now we are doing 2 clusters for each side. So continue your round like this, and I will meet you when we're doing the slip stitch. Here we are, skipping the 2 chains into the V and doing a slip stitch. And once again, we slip stitch to the corner and we make a corner and we do the round. Once again, we are ready to slip stitch the round closed. So now we have made this square. Now the thing is, if you have the square with the heart in it, you have got to make sure you lay it like this, and then you add the sides there. Okay. Now slip stitch into the next chain space. Yeah, you're ready for adding stitches or adding your row on this side there. So I'm going to do a chain 1, then I'm going to yarn over. And I'm going to find here, there, look, can you see that little hole there? Into that same chain as where I did that slip stitch in. You're going to do a double crochet. Then you are going to do another double crochet into that chain space here. There. Okay. So to start with, you are going to do a partial cluster. You always start with 2 double crochets. The first chain that we did was just our turning chain, so we're going to forget about that. Then we did the first double crochet and the second double crochet, which is sort of in the chain space, unlike the first one, which is in that first stitch. Then you are going to start doing your clusters along the side. So you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters. See, look. And then you go to the other corner there and you do 1 double crochet. And that's enough. Okay. So the cluster here and here really is considered as a cluster, but it's a split cluster. And you always finish in 1. So you start in 2, finish in 1. So we're going to start in 2. So you start with your chain. You turn your work this time. Then you do your double crochet into that hole here where that chain is coming out of, so into the stitch. And then your second double crochet goes into the chain space there. So this is your first part of your split cluster. And now you do your clusters again. So again, you will be doing 4 clusters. So these rows you do not increase, you're just making your square wider to turn it into a rectangle. And you've reached that half cluster. You then go and you sort of have to look on the other side of your work, and can you see this quite big V here? That's the V that you are going to use. That's the one that you created when you made that first double crochet after the chain, and that's the one that you need. Oops, I lost it. No, that's, yeah, there. That's the one that you need to do your last double crochet in. Then chain 1, turn, do your double crochet, do your double crochet in the chain space, and then your 4 clusters. Now you might think this is not enough, but it will straighten out. It will be fine. See, look, it is enough. It is wide enough. It might lean in a little bit here, but once you've done what you have to do, when you go back again there, it's fine. So this is now our 3rd row. So we are going to do 3 rows on this side, and then in a moment we are going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So on the other side of the heart. Let me just finish this row here. So I'm picking up that V there, doing the 1. This side is done now, so you can cut off your yarn. Look, there we go. So that's that. So basically we've now done this. Okay, so you've added 3 rows on this side. If this was your heart here, you've added 3 rows on this side of the heart. Now we are going to add 3 rows on this side of the heart. So put your granny square in front of you with the 3 rows added at the bottom, so you can get started here. Take your yarn, make a slip knot, insert your hook, and I'm going to get started in about that same location as we were earlier. So into that sort of chain where I think I'm actually in the corner of the corner, and I'm going to do a little slip stitch there, a chain, and then let's get started exactly the same way with that double crochet. Then you go into that chain space to do your second one. And really, it's the same thing as we did just now. So now I am just going to do my 3 rows. Okay, so I've done my 3 rows. Let me cut this off. There we go. So now, as you can see, I've turned this into a rectangular granny square. So let's now do a couple of more rounds of granny cluster around the whole piece to just bring it all together. So I'm going to get started with a slip knot, insert my hook, pull closed the loop, and I'm just going to get started. You can start anywhere, but I'm just going to get started here so I can show you this whole side where it's a little bit awkward. So I'm going to get started with a standing double crochet in between the clusters, and I'm just going to do a double crochet like so. Now I'm going to do another 2 because I'm doing a cluster there. So all along the sides, you're just doing the clusters in between the clusters as you normally are used to. But then here things get a little bit awkward. So here we have the corner. So there's a location here for a cluster, so you do one there. Basically, you're just going to, start looking for the locations where there would have been a cluster. There's a location right here, so let's use that one. So those are perfectly spaced apart. Then here, you normally would have gotten a chain space to put a corner in, but we haven't got that. So we are just going to try and find a V or a location here that we can pick up. And in there is where we're going to create the corner. So yarn over, and we are just going to use the top of that stitch for our corner location. So indeed, we are just going to do 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and another 3 double crochets into that same stitch that we found on the side there. There we go. Perfect. Look. And now, once again here, we are going to have to do a double crochet, cluster. So next location, another cluster, and off we go, doing the granny clusters in between the granny clusters. And that looks okay, that's fine. And then here, of course, another cluster there. And then of course, we are going to have to find a location again to do that corner in. And this time we've got that double crochet here on its own, and that's what I'm going to use. Make sure that, because I've just pulled out that loop there, make sure this doesn't come undone because you are working in there. So when you sew that in, do it very tightly indeed. There we go. So we've got our corner there. So now, once again, we are looking for those locations where it could have been that we would have had to place a cluster. And that would have been around here, but there isn't really a place there. The next place is here and here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to this location here, But this will be the same situation here as well. And while you thought maybe this was close together, these are a little bit further apart. So it makes up for that, okay? So I'm going to go to that location there and try and make sure that it doesn't pull too much, but it will all work out. And this is, look, this is the corner of the granny square from before we amended it. And here we are, we're on the side again of the granny square. See, look. So you might think, yeah, that's okay, look. You might think that that gap is a little bit too big, but in the next round it will all work out. And so I will see you when you have finished this round. Okay, so I've finished that round and now I am going to do another round because I did 2 more rounds around this one as well. So let me do that. So you just slip stitch to the next location and 2 chains and 2 more double crochets there. And then off you go with placing clusters in between the clusters on the sides, and then of course making the corners in the corners. And I'm just finishing my round, doing a slip stitch and closing the round. There we go. Okay, so we're going to cut off the yarn. There we go. And now we have 2 pieces that are the same. So let's now crochet them together. So this is my outside, this is my outside. We're going to put the insides together like so. So we're now ready to start crocheting our 2 sides together. So you make a slip knot, insert your hook, and we are ready to get started. Now I like to get started in a corner because then you know where you are. So insert into the corner space on this piece and on the other piece as well. Bring up a loop and do a standing single crochet. Pull it sort of to the side a little bit because we're going to do another single crochet, 1 chain and another 2 single crochets into that chain space. There we go. So we've got the corner made. And now we are going to get started by doing single crochets, but we are going to go under the V's each time. So you pick up both strands of the V on this side and the V on this side of the next stitch each time. So making sure that each time you pick up the next one, but it's also the next one on here. So don't skip them or don't do them twice, because you should have, of course, the same amount of stitches on both pieces. So just checking each time. So I'm going to go around all the way, but of course do not forget to put the cushion in. So I'm nearly at the corner now. Let me just check. There we go. Yeah. And so now we do 2 single crochets in the chain space, 1 chain, and then another 2 single crochets. And then we start doing, yeah, our single crochets again to actually crochet these 2 panels together. See, look, and that's what it looks like now. I think it's lovely. I like the little edge. There we go. So I'm going to continue like this, and I will be back around here, so I just have enough space to squeeze that cushion in. Okay, so I now need to put that cushion in. Let's just give it a go. I've put quite a lot of stuffing in, I have to say, but I wanted it nice and plump. Oh, that's okay. But look, do you see what I mean now? Before, you were able to just hold them together. Now you're going to have to really pull it, and then you'll be able to hold it together. There we go. Okay, so let's continue. Oh, and I was just in a good rhythm there as well, but I didn't want to risk it because I know that the cushion is quite thick, as you can see. Look, I didn't want to risk it not going in to a smaller opening. Okay, so see, there's the awkwardness. And of course it doesn't help having to do it on camera either, because yeah, it's not so close to your body as you would like to hold it, of course. See, there we go. Right, yeah, so basically let me explain what to do, and then I can do it off camera. You still have to find the same strands of the stitches, corresponding stitches on each side of the cushion, and just, you know, try and do it as well as you can. I will be back. Oh my goodness, it was so much easier once I had it closer to me. Oh, there we go. Last stitch, slip stitch. And I've pulled in all the ends, so that's fine for me. Cut off your yarn, pull it out. And then what I generally do here is I insert my hook really close to where the end is, and I just pull it through like that. Push it in. There we go. There we are. So that is my little cushion with the heart that I added to my scrap blanket for Layla, and I really, really love it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!